Good morning, and this is a screencast-o-matic to go over the agenda that I'm hoping to go over tomorrow during our staff meeting at 1:45 in Mr. King's room. After some really frank discussions with folks and a lot of reflection, I'm going to be the first to admit that I've gotten complacent and have relied too much on the quote unquote Amana way, and I need to get back to a systematic and cohesive approach to addressing all students, and this is behavior and academic needs and enrichment and just everything. Having now 2 years with very much similar consistent staff was going to be huge. Not a huge amount of turnover, art of course, but that philosophy is going to stay very consistent with Mrs. Beckley. So that's going to work. I talk with Mrs. Ryman. We do need to get back to that Amana way, and I think to start with, we need to define what that Amana way is. And given now just some more comprehensive programs that we have, ELL, ELP, behavior at risk, special ed, I reflect back to 5 years ago, 90% of it was done by one person, Mrs. Ryman. And, we just sort of all bonded together and grew as a new principal for me. And, I think I've rested on those laurels, and I need to get back to a more fluid information to and from regarding students, their needs, and their progress. And again, that's every student, every level, so that we can really maximize success. So I really think that's when we were really functioning at our best. Miss Ryman always tells me that, she always works under the assumption that people do what they know how to do. And so I have to do that too. And so we've got a tremendous amount of expertise in this building, and it continues to grow. Our skills continue to evolve, but we really need to get back to that support of all and the great things we're doing. There's one of my favorite things is to be able to see each and every person absolutely in their greatest moments with students. And if I can wave a magic wand, that's what I'd have everybody see. But I don't have a magic wand, so I need to get us back around the table to be talking about those students, sharing all of those great things. We do need to redefine, tier one, tier two, and tier three. Not redefine it, but it's pretty clear for us. We just have to get back to what those meetings are. I want at-risk support. I'm hoping to build in some of that team teaching and that collaboration. I think we need more. I personally feel we need more time together to make those accommodations, whether they're at risk, special ed, behavior, or ELL, or ELP, excuse me. And I'm thinking we used to do that during a double special time. We don't have double specials anymore. So just throwing this out there, library time, while your class is at library, could that be a time when those teachers are getting together, co-planning, not really much looking at that data, because we do need to get those PLC meetings going in a systematic way, but I'm thinking just that co-planning, making those accommodations, making those extensions, and just getting everybody around the table, refocusing on what is most important. And again, I have theories that, in regards to behavior, for example, and this would be for anybody, but, we've identified behavior students. Morgan is an identified behavior student. Savannah is not. Not a whole lot of difference. Jay and Cole, Trevor and Caden, we're always going to have some outliers like Keon, who's done tremendous growth. But, when I think of ELP even, with Kaylee and Nolan Hammerlink, there's one is identified for ELP and one is not, but they're both very bright, and those extensions and those sort of collaboration need to happen. So again, I'm thinking maybe it's the library time. How we're going to get people around the table is something I'm going to really push for and insist on. Let's see. I would like to schedule 10-minute check-in, exit interviews with everybody. I want to know what should we keep doing, stop doing, and start doing. Also, I want an honest perception from your point of my work, our work, and then I'll also share my perception. And I think I've assumed for years and years that my perceptions are always accurate. And I'm starting to think that I need more systematic approaches and not rely so much on my perception. So I would like to see or think about an intervention slash enrichment time, trying to clean up the traffic in the hallway after school. So what I'm hoping, and I can see where this is on the older end of the students, but I don't know what this looks like yet. So be thinking about this. I would like to see that 3:05 to 3:20 time evolve into an intervention slash enrichment time. I would like to see the picker-uppers called from the office to the classroom. My picker-uppers typically are not on time, and so I think what I would like to do is use that time. Again, I don't know what that looks like for K1. I have a better idea what it could look like for the 4 or 5s, but again, this is something we can kind of flesh out and just pick your brains a little bit on what that could look like. If we have some enrichments and they work for some students from 3:05 to 3:20, that's one less person we need to do during the day, which gives us the opportunity to work on those students as well. So I don't want anybody who has to leave it on the first bus or picker up to lose anything, but anyway, I hope that makes sense. There's a draft schedule that Miss Partridge and Mrs. Ryman have worked on. It's got a win time built in. I think we were really successful with a built-in win time, and I would like to go over that. Protocols for behavior. Again, there's a very fine line between what is an identified behavior and what isn't. So my thinking is there are some points of PBIS that are positive, and one of those is more defined system for when a student's sent out of class. So, if you send a student out for the nurse, you fill out a slip, and that seems to be going well, and that all gets documented. That is going to be a protocol for next year. My thinking is, and I'm going to be working with Mrs. Partridge and Mrs. Bublitz, and of course input, I think identifying what could be sent outable, but I do want, is it a disruption? Is it a quiet work spot needed? Or is it just the teacher needs a break? And all of them will be documented. I will put all those forms into PowerSchool, which then feeds to Edis, and all of it will be documented. And, I think it's okay that sometimes a teacher needs a break, but if there's those with disruption, again, I'm just going to say it, Jay, I don't know that I've done a nice job of documenting everything I've needed to document with him. And so I think I need to put my thumb on that a little bit, make sure that data is being collected and that plans are being written, and then just something simple and documentable and something easy for the teacher to grab and use. And again, there will always be exceptions to every rule. Relooking at our MTSS process, the data collection, there's the flow chart. We've got Edis, Mrs. Partridge, Mrs. Ryman, again with staff input, will be driving this MTSS process and helping us with that data collection and all that. As our PLC leader and our coach, they're already collaborating on that. Also, that Amana way, we get in defining that, how do we build a culture of support for all of us? How do we then transfer that culture to the students? That support, respect, and the thirst for knowledge. So, I don't know. I'd like to see cheat sheets for common language, expected, unexpected. That's that social thinking curriculum that we've started. I'd like to build on that. Cheat sheets for our student interventions, for our behavior students, and even cheat sheets for our students in special ed and at risk, and ELP, excuse me. When a student, thinking Nolan Hammerlink, when he gets to a point where he just needs a little more or has some time, does he have something to work on? Or, I'm not picking or pointing fingers at anybody. Again, I'm looking at myself, and I've gotten out of the loop of all these student interventions, and I want to get back to how we support each other in supporting these students, and make sure we are collecting the data we're needed to collect and creating the plans we need to plan. I don't ever want to make more work for anybody. My hope is this systematic approach then makes our life simpler, more cohesive, and something we can count on each other for. So that's my 10-minute rant. I hope it makes sense. Take a look at the draft schedule. All this is in infancy stage, but we'll get that done soon, get it out so people can plan. Again, thank you for a great year, and I'll see you in a little bit. Thank you.